Hello Internet, so nice to see you. A defining characteristic of the progressive style of music, whether it's progressive rock or progressive metal, is the use of odd time signatures like 5/4, 7/8, 13/8, and all these. If you want help and guidance on how to write music in those time signatures, you're going to find very little out there because there is not as much music before the progressive style written in odd time signatures. I mean, there is some classical music written in odd time signatures, there is some jazz music written in odd time signatures, but music theorists have spent most of their effort explaining chords more than explaining rhythm. So, what can you do? Are you doomed? Or are you left only with trial and error? Well, no. Turns out that there are very specific guidelines that can help you writing better music in odd time signatures. There is music theory that covers rhythm after all. So, a student who writes in the progressive style asks me how to make odd time signatures sound better, sound more flowing, more groovy, so that the song flows way better. And I'm going to show you the answer I gave him that contains specific guidelines. You are not going to find any of these anywhere else. So remember where you've heard it first. Okay?
How do I make complex rhythms, like complex meters, time signatures, feel more natural and groovy for my listener in my compositions?
There is a rhythmic trick. Okay? And the fun thing is that you're not going to find this rhythm trick anywhere, okay? Because people don't want to explain you this rhythm trick. And there is a reason, because I'm going to state it, and you may find exceptions. So as usual, what I'm going to say right now, it's true the majority of times. Exceptions are always possible if other elements of music support what you're doing. But when you take rhythm in isolation, okay? So let's say you are composing with one percussion instrument. So you have no variation of tone, the chord, harmony, melody. No, you have just pure rhythm, okay? Let's say you are composing, clapping your hands. So pure rhythm, okay? Then, most of the time, this works. Rhythm, it's easier to follow if you put larger division before smaller divisions. Okay, I'm going to qualify that. The general rule is larger division before smaller division. Okay, let's say you have a bar of 4/4. Let's start easy, okay? A rhythm where you have the first note taking 2 beats, then the next note taking 1 beat, and the next note taking 1 beat. So 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's easier for your brain to understand than any other permutation of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, it's easier than 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, with a 4/4, it's hard to understand. It's hard to hear a big difference because you guys have heard all those rhythms forever. Okay? But have you guys noticed that the drum fill is always at the end of the bar? And the drum fill is always at the end of the section? Why should it be at the end of the section and not at the beginning of the section? Because it's easier to understand at the end of the section. So inside your section of music, the verse, the chorus, the bar, whatever, you put the smaller division, so the drum is busier toward the end. So you have larger division early, smaller division later. Okay? Does that mean that you are forbidden to put a smaller division before? No, you do it if you want the rhythm to not flow so well. If you want the rhythm to start and stop, sometimes you want, then you put smaller division first and larger division later. Okay, but the rhythm tends to flow and it's easy to understand, okay? Flowing is exactly the right word, okay? When you put larger division first, smaller division later. Inside odd time signature bar, that is true too. Think of 5/4. The most common rhythm on a 5/4 is to have the first note that is 1.5 beats, okay, so a dotted quarter note, then another dotted quarter note, and then a quarter note and a quarter note. Or if you want, 3/8, 3/8, 2/8, 2/8, which is, incidentally, Mission Impossible. Okay? That's how you remember it. Mission Impossible, the original theme, is pretty groovy, right? I mean, not the crappy 4/4 version they made for Mission Impossible 2 or 3. The original one, the 5/4 one, okay? It's very groovy. Why? Larger division before small division. You can, mathematically, you can take your 5/4, change the order of those notes, but any other permutation will not feel as groovy. It will not flow well. I'm going to equate now groovy and flowing well, even if they're not exactly the same thing, because otherwise we stay here hours, okay, trying to define everything precisely. Take this as something that is more precise than a metaphor, but is not science, okay? So we have an idea. Okay, makes sense? Now, attention, if you're mixing bars of different length, then the same rule apply in a sense. The rhythm flow easier if you put larger bars before and smaller bars later. And this is what happens more than 50% of the time, okay, in progressive metal songs. Does it happen all the time? No, but take most of the song by Dream Theater or Symphony X or whatever, okay? And you're gonna notice that in the section, in the verse, in the chorus, typically you have larger bars and then they shorten up. Rarely you have shorter bars and then they lengthen up. Occasionally you have short, long, short, or some other combination, okay? But and then those songs tend to not flow as well as the other ones. Okay, again, you can do everything if you have other musical elements supporting what you're doing. But I'm talking rhythm alone, everything else being the same, which never is, as we know, but everything else being the same, that's what happens, okay? I know other people on the internet know all that, but they don't want to talk about that because you are going to find a song where this is not true and the song flows really well. It's going to happen, okay? Because this should not be read as good or bad, okay? This should be read more flow and groove or less flow and groove. And less flow and groove could be exactly what you want for your song. This is the same thing that you see. I know some of you know this concept as progression and retrogression. Progression makes the song go forward. Retrogression makes the song not move forward with as much ease, but we like that harmonic difficulty in going forward. And so the song sounds in a different way. So we have rhythm, progression, and retrogression, depending if you put larger division before small division or vice versa. Another defining characteristic of the progressive style is the use of interesting chords. Not just triad, not just 7 chords, so different than what you will normally find in classical music or in jazz or in other styles before, okay? There are a lot of suspended chords and a lot of other strange things going on. If you want to learn those kind of chords, if you want to see how all those chords work on your fretboard, if you want to get your own sound out of the guitar, I recommend you check out my course, Complete Chord Mastery. Complete Chord Mastery, it's not a book. It's a complete video course that takes you from the basics up. We do everything you need to know about harmony and chords on your guitar. All the theory is done straight on the fretboard. There is no theory for the sake of theory here. Everything is immediately practical and everything is developed through exercises so you know how to apply these immediately on your guitar. If you have just a minute, click on the link on the top right to check out Complete Chord Mastery. If you like this video, smash on that like button and don't forget to subscribe and click on notification, otherwise YouTube will not let you know when I put up a new video. And if you have any comment, feedback, suggestions, write them down in the comment. I enjoy reading from you and I make videos on your suggestions. This is Tommaso Zilio of musictheoryforguitar.com and until next time, enjoy!